Good day, and welcome to another edition of Off the Record. Of course, we are at the lovely Reef establishment
Yes.
where we are getting good service and so on. It is one of the premier hotels in Tobago, and we have in our company, well, I don't have Stephan today because Stephan is out, but I have my esteemed able-bodied colleague, the original.
Heavy.
What to call it?
The original?
All right,
Heavy.
heavy,
Right.
right?
Good morning. Good morning. We coming from all the way from Reef and Tobago.
Yes.
Right. I must say a beautiful hotel. I must say thanks to Reef.
Yeah,
Right?
you're doing a good job.
You're
You're
doing a
keeping
good
us
job.
safe.
And I
Most
want to thank
important.
UX and for having me fill in for Stephan this morning.
No problem.
Right. Also got to thank the Ground Report for an excellent show with Mighty K and Andy Williams. Right.
Well, not my-
Sorry.
I don't
Lennox
make that
Smith.
mistake
Just make the
myself.
mistake too.
Lennox
Yes.
Smith,
Lennox Smith.
Andy Williams, and of course the guy in the studio, Mr. Nigel Snipes.
Yes.
Thanks for your service, sir, and bringing us all our live needs right here at Reef. It's our first time in Tobago. Well, not first time, but
Yes.
first time as talk show host in Tobago and at Reef.
Yep.
And so we want to say thanks to the facility for having us and for getting us into the thing, right? So our first guest today, the esteemed Miss Faith Brebner, the health secretary for the Tobago House of Assembly.
Definitely.
She is also, I think, the deputy political leader.
Yes.
Right. And all y'all who want to know, she has a doctorate, and her doctorate is in public health, right? Which is not really known because everybody with the doctor, the two little letters after
Yes.
your name or before your name or whatever it is. So that doctor's in public health. So it is very instructive that she is in the Ministry of Health in the
Tobago.
the Tobago House of Assembly, right? So good morning, Ms. Brebner. Morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Allow me, as also Deputy Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, to say to you, lovely folks, welcome to Tobago.
All right, all right.
Officially on the show, welcome to Tobago. So yes, I do have a doctoral degree in public health. It is one that is not very well known.
All right.
Those of us with those degrees feel very, very honored that it's so unique
Yes,
as well.
yes.
So thank you and thanks for having me on the show. I anticipate us having a wonderful conversation.
All right, no problem. And I take it as a personal honor to have Ms. Brebner here, being the deputy chief, as the second in charge
Yes.
of what's going on the island. But this is a beautiful island. I must say, this is a beautiful island from ever since I come in here, since when water is a company shore, down in Scarborough there. I come into, my first trip was to Lambo, as a
Right.
matter of fact. And water is a company, and where the highways,
Yeah.
well, not the highway, but the
The
two
road.
lane,
The road,
and
yeah.
the road, and there was no embankment or anything. So
Okay.
water is a company road, it's a coconut trees and all sorts of stuff down. So I come in here long.
Wow.
And it didn't have any KFC and all the different franchises and so on. It didn't have all those things back in the day. It was blue food.
Correct.
They eat real raw food.
Correct.
The real food of Tobago. Right, so getting into it, Ms. Brebner, well, let's start by the most obvious question around the 2-year-old's disappearance.
Yeah.
Could you just fill us in on anything that you would know what's going on with that issue at this point in time?
Certainly, it is certainly a somber issue. I was on site yesterday afternoon with the parents and so forth. And we kind of still, you're still praying and hoping for the best, recognizing that the best may not be the outcome that we get, but at least, unfortunately, but at least, we also, because standing there with the mom and the grandparents and so forth yesterday, it really broke my heart. As a matter of fact, I got there and I got an instant headache. To be somewhere and get
I
an
know that,
instant headache.
Yeah.
I do know, though, that the emergency agencies are going back to try to recover, the body, if that is the case. But, we're still praying.
Well,
praying for the best.
For those who don't know, could you
Yes.
explain the incident as to what took place?
Certainly. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions, but it seems like the parents noticed
Right.
noticed that the baby was missing later in the evening before and started searching and so forth and recognized that, the young boy could have wandered away from the home and so forth. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Either way, it's a beautiful, beautiful little boy who is missing, and the entire family, the entire village
Right.
was out there trying to give support, trying to prop up the parents, and the Tobago House of Assembly. We are doing our best to provide that support,
Well,
to provide that support.
I know
as
you will
well.
be waiting on reports from the relevant stakeholders who are engaged in the find,
Yeah.
basically, because we have to find that little young boy at some cost. Something we have to find. But it is what it is, people, and unfortunately, a little life was lost. It's a very somber moment, as the minister said. So it's not a nice
It's
feeling,
not.
but
It's
it is-
not a
it is
nice
what it
feeling at all. And we just want to hug and kiss and love up the family and give them that support at this point.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
We have 2 minutes before we go to a break. So
all right. So we want to get into the meat of it. Tourism would be one of the areas that we are sort of discussing with a twist on public health and health issues. I wouldn't want to get into that. just yet.
we don't want to get into that just yet because we have a break to
We have a
take in
break to
about
take.
1 minute,
Okay.
right? And when we come back from that break, we're going to get into that issue.
And the topic that we're going to start off with is the deja vu for me, which is the hantavirus and how it affects people, how you are managing your ministry in terms of receiving of people onto the island.
Yeah.
What are the protocols, that sort of stuff. So, of course, those things are important to how we deal with it, because COVID was not a nice experience.
COVID was
at all.
not nice at all.
It was not nice. And this is just like a deja
Deja
vu
vu.
of that happening, and every time I hear something, I sort of pull back, and wonder, boy,
What going
where
on?
we going on here? Where we going here?
Well, maybe I would take the one part of it to just say this is not like COVID.
All right. Okay.
It is not like COVID. I know we all kind of concerned, but it is not like COVID, and we could talk about why it's not like
All right,
COVID
so
when
we're
we
going
come
for a
back.
break now, and we'll be back right after the break. So we're here live in Cocoa Reef in
Yeah.
Tobago. We'll be back.
Yeah. Okay, people, we're back inside and off the record, of course. Myself and Heavy here in Cocoa Reef, the lovely Cocoa Reef. Yeah, must say
Yes.
that. So, to the Minister of Health, basically, You're my Minister of Health for Tobago.
It's with Tobago.
Or Secretary. Well, same thing. Minister, same day. Not the same day? All right.
All right, the Deputy Chief
All
Secretary.
right. The Secretary for Health in Tobago. Right. So public health would be your strong point, right? And so in terms of this hantavirus, it is, to me, it's like COVID. And the reason why it's like COVID is because it did not originate in the same place, because we had the Wuhan issue first,
Right.
and then with this one we have a rodent issue as the other one, and we
Yes.
know that rodents bring leptospirosis to the human body
Right.
if exposed and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But the unknowns is what just give me the heebie-jeebies, as let's call it. Yeah, that's what just give me the heebie-jeebies, as you don't know the pathological distance that this virus would have taken, how it would mutated in people, how it mutates in people, how you treat it, and all sorts of stuff, right? So there was a ship that had people going to the Canary Islands, I think it was, and well, they found out they had a couple people died,
Yeah.
and all the unanswered questions start popping up in my head. And this is for me, this is not for the public, this is just for me.
No, and if you are having those unanswered questions, it means the population also having those unanswered questions.
So, in terms of the progression of the disease right now, it is, well, there are some people in Switzerland, I think it is, that came up with some, or isolated, one self-isolated and one not self-isolated, basically.
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting, well, and you know that in COVID, it wasn't as bad as information spreading.
Right.
But we are 2 years or 3 years down the road, so technology has leaped
Leaps and bounds.
leaps and bounds in terms of the information that we get for this virus and how it affects us. Now, this is a tourism island. This is an island that is always full of tourists. Have a lot of tourists in this hotel here.
Right. Which is
And
good,
so
which
on.
is what we need.
Yes, yes.
So we need to be very careful as to how we manage, how we go into this virus, if any at all. We don't want to create unnecessary panic, of
Panic,
course.
correct.
But at the same time, we need to be
We need the
vigilant and paying
information.
attention to what's going on around the world, so that we don't. So I know COVID would have taught you all a lot of lessons. So what are some of the protocols that you would have in place now for like screening of people coming to the island, and a general outlook of how you treat
How
with
we-
people if they
how we
have
manage.
a breakout, and the spaces you have and so on. So you could elaborate for us.
So, what is interesting is those of us who are trained public health professionals,
Right.
this is what they train us for.
Right.
This is what we went to school all of them years for.
Right.
So even during the COVID period, while yes, we were concerned and there was the panic and so forth, those of us who were public health professionals were like, wow, you mean what we learned in class, we actually now get to experience it happening.
Okay.
And this is why it is so important to get your information from credible sources,
Right.
from people who know what they are talking about, so that you don't have to be afraid, so that you could be informed and behave in appropriate manners to prevent yourself and your family and your community from getting sick. So let's go back to this whole hantavirus thing. Remember I said before we had the break that it is not like COVID. And let me explain what I mean by that. So hantavirus, as you rightly said, is a virus, but what most people don't know is that it is actually a bunch of virus. So it's not just one.
Okay.
There are about 30 or so different strains of it. It's plenty. It's a normal thing that has been around. So that's the other thing. It did not just pop up from nowhere. Those of us in public health who have been following viruses and bacteria and so forth, we know that this exists because it exists.
Right.
And it moves traditionally from rodents, so mainly rats and mice, to humans. When you have a rodent or an animal to a human transmission, that is known as zoonosis. That's a normal thing that all of we learn in school, right? Normally, the strains of hantavirus only really go from animal to human. except we have discovered this one strain of the 30 or so. There is one strain that now moves from humans to humans, and that is the Andes, ANDES strain. How do we know that? Because we now have the technology to actually go in and look at the virus and identify the genomes and all of that of it. That is because we now have the technology to do that. Why is it different? So let's go back to COVID. When we were treating with COVID was a spread from human to human through contact that was pretty far, where the two people could be far but still get infected. What do I mean by that? You ever talk to somebody, you happen to stand up close to them, you're talking to them, and all you're feeling is boulders in your face?
Yes.
Right.
And you're thinking to yourself, Lord God Almighty, all of this? All of this?
Extra gravy.
No, exactly. No, in those boulders, in essence, the coronavirus was in those boulders spreading through the air.
Right.
And those boulders could have spread kind of far through the air, which is why we came up with the 6 feet away social distancing,
And all
6
these
feet
things.
away.
Yeah.
Because we recognize that even if you're spitting the boulders out, it falls to the ground before it gets to the 6-foot mark. That is why we said 6 feet away.
Okay.
Because it was falling before it get to 6 foot, right?
Right.
Now, the hantavirus, though, what we are learning so far is that it is not spreading like that so far.
Okay.
And the other part about it is we recognize that for COVID, it was spreading even before people started showing they were sick. So before you started showing symptoms,
Yeah.
you could actually talk
the
to
virus.
somebody, have it, and
and don't
spread
know.
it. And because
So you were
you were
asymptomatic.
asymptomatic, but you can spread it.
Right.
This Andes strain of hantavirus, though, it does not appear to be spreading when you are not sick.
Okay.
And it does
Okay.
not appear to be spreading from so far away. So when you look at the cases that happened on the cruise,
Yeah.
the cases were people who were close
Yes,
to
direct-
each
direct
other,
contact.
direct close
Yeah.
contact. So you're talking about the first case may have been somebody who got it because they were interacting in an area that had rats. What we think of in Argentina is where we are thinking.
Right.
The person who got it after that was the spouse. They were in the same room
Room,
together,
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
sleeping on the
Utilities and so
same
on,
bed,
yeah.
Understood.
possibly having sex, interacting in that kind of way.
Right.
And we recognize the other cases were also people who were interacting in a really close kind of way,
Right.
which means the virus is behaving exactly the way we think it is behaving. And those who were not having those kinds of very close interactions, those people have not picked up the thing. The other thing we need to be not concerned about, but I am actually proud. The fact that the entire world now knows about hantavirus and what happened on this cruise
Yeah.
actually shows that our public health mechanisms are working internationally.
Okay.
It shows that the World Health Organization is actually doing what it is supposed to do. It shows that the people who were on the cruise and the countries where the people who were on the cruise live are actually following what we call international health regulations, the IHR requirements, which basically says, if you have a situation and you find people start to get sick, put up your hand and let me know, please.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
that the world could start understanding what is happening and we could start putting mechanisms in place to prevent it from spreading too far. So the fact that the cruise actually said, World Health Organization, we recognize we have a couple people falling sick. Come and help us manage this, is proof that the cruise people actually did the responsible thing.
Okay.
The other part that they've been doing is what we know called contact tracing. What does that mean? If I am sick or if I think I'm sick, I need the people who have been in contact
close
with
contact
me
with you, yeah.
to know that that was the situation, because we also want them to be responsible. And by the way, some of the cases that were identified in some of the other countries happened because of that, where they know, well, we said, okay, you may have been on the ship or you may have been in close contact with somebody on the ship. We need you to pay special attention. Are you feeling like you're getting flu-like symptoms? if you're feeling like you're getting flu-like symptoms, put up your hand fast, 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 so that we can know who you are, so that we can test you really quickly, so that
Isolate
we
you.
can monitor you,
Yeah.
so that we can isolate you, so that we can do it, so that you don't then spread to other people. Now, why is this important again? Hantavirus, it is difficult to get it, but the reality is those who get it can get very sick and they can die.
Okay.
That is a fact. So what we are saying is we want that as soon as you start getting symptoms, we know who you are, we know what the symptoms are, so that if you need medical treatment, you can get the medical treatment quickly. Because the people who die because their organs, their lungs stop working the way it should, their kidneys stop working the way it should. And the treatment that we give for those people is really to help your lungs keep working properly, to help your kidneys keep working properly. And if we know that you are sick early enough and get you to the hospital early enough, we can help your body, we can support these organs to function so that you don't get to the point where you die.
Okay.
So that is why we are encouraging people to get the information, learn about it, don't panic, because panicking is not helping
Yeah, it's
you,
not helping.
and let us know very quickly if you have been in contact, that you have been in contact, so that we can do the correct thing to help you survive this and to help you from spreading this any further.
Well, in terms of the protocols, okay, so for the island, this is a very small island that,
Yes.
that invites a lot of tourists, both domestically and internationally. In terms of what would be the preparation, or do you have a team monitoring how it's going so that we can know that if we are coming close to that point, that we can activate the things that we have to activate and so on? So is there a team? Or,
Oh, yes, we have a very good, a very robust team. We work very closely with the international partners. So we have representatives, for example, from the Pan American Health Organization, which is the WHO in the Caribbean region.
right.
We have the Caribbean CARFA, the Caribbean Health Public Health Agency, also monitoring all of this. On island, we have our Public Health Services Department, and we have our County Medical Officers of Health and their office, who currently have officers you probably don't know, but for the airport to open and for the seaport to open, you need port health officers sitting there monitoring people.
Okay.
You don't know that it is happening, but we have actually a host of people sitting on the airport watching everybody who come in,
Okay.
and on the seaport watching everybody who come in.
Right.
And saying, okay, this person, let's see. And then we would start, depending on what is happening, you would see people would start actually testing your temperature and so forth as you go along, just to make sure. So that process. What people also don't know, when a cruise ship lands in Tobago, there's a whole process that has to happen before a single passenger is allowed to come off of the
island,
cruise ship.
right.
A whole process that happens with our public health inspectors and our port health officers and so forth, going and talking and making sure we get all of the information before they're even allowed to disembark.
Right.
So this is a normal process. What happened during COVID, though, is that people were just now highlighted to the fact that these things were happening. People didn't know it was happening before, but because it started happening they started recognizing it was happening in COVID. They thought that we now started doing it, but it actually has been happening for quite a while.
All right. So any protocols that you have in place just say go? You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
You have protocols like that?
So it's not even in place to say go. These protocols are in place
Already.
continually.
Yes.
Continually. We also have, for example, the hospital is alerted, the health centers are alerted. If you see people with this is what you do. Step 1, step 2, step 3.
Okay.
And these are processes that are normal processes that function continually.
Okay, great.
Now, what has happened is COVID probably taught us to be more strict with them and to be more discerning when we do it and to be more
Diligent.
intentional when we do it. But those protocols have been in place.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yes.
you kind of laid my fears.
Good.
You being an expert in the field, I would trust your word that you understand what's needed for Tobago and
Certainly.
how to protect the people of Tobago, because we have about 50,000 people here. Plus, we have visitors from time to time.
Yes.
And
And by the way, I speak very closely, communicate very well with the Minister of Health as well. So
Okay.
I'm sure if I call him now, he would pick up.
most
Okay.
important,
Yes,
So
most important.
so it's not, so my point is not just in Tobago it's happening.
Okay, okay.
You could be,
Because
you know,
I remember we were caught with our pants down not having a public health policy last time, and that was a bugbear for us, and we had to
So no-
learn while going.
But that's the thing, we had a public health policy.
Okay.
It may not have been communicated well enough because we had an infectious prevention policy that we used in Tobago that was part of the national policy.
Okay.
So I think part of the issue, and maybe what we need to do better this go around, is to communicate a little bit better. But these policies were there and they were being implemented. What we needed to do was probably beef up how they are implemented, and that's what we continue to learn to do.
Okay, well, that's great.
So, what's your vision for the Tobago health for the next 5, 10 years? You know, on the wellness and facilities and the future of the health in Tobago, like infrastructure and all these
Right.
things.
So health in Tobago, I think, my vision and the vision of the division is having it pivot a little bit. We continue to spend a whole lot of money on healthcare, and I don't think the average Tobagonian knows, and that's why I kind of say the figure all the time. Every month, as a secretary with responsibility for health, I have to approve giving the Tobago Regional Health Authority $50 million. 50 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars every month. And that is just to run the hospitals, run the health centers, pay salaries, basic stuff.
Right.
We ain't start to talk about buying additional equipment or anything like that yet.
Right.
Now, what I recognize though is that figure was raising, that figure was increasing. The number of people we had coming into our hospitals and our health centers were also increasing to the point where I don't know if you remember last year or the year before, we actually had to go into emergency mode in the hospital where we were telling people don't come to the hospital if you don't absolutely need to because we don't have no bed. Full stop, we don't have no bed.
Wow.
And because of that, we started working through having more preventative mechanisms in place. So within the Division of Health and Wellness, we literally just launched a Wellness Prevention and Health Promotion Unit department. And that department's aim is to do what we call upstream stuff, which
Right.
is really to prevent people from having to come to the health facilities in the first place. So we're talking about diabetes and blood pressure, high blood
Hypertension,
pressure,
yeah.
and the cancers that we have and all of those things. Getting us to the point where we change our behaviors so that we have less of those people coming into the health facilities and therefore having to spend less money eventually on our health care system. So we have a group of people, we have some very young, really, really educated, really, really compassionate individuals who are, one, looking at our statistics, because what we don't want is to just say, let me do this, just because like what everybody else doing.
Yeah.
No, we ensuring that every program we deal with, every program we treat with is deep in science, and that we know it will work, and that we are measuring it to make sure that it works. So you could recognize when we start interacting with you, if you're coming to do a program with us, we're going to start interrogating the program even way more than we normally interrogate programs. So we really, really are pushing towards that kind of wellness to ensure that the island gets healthier so that we don't need to use the health facilities. Now, granted, I am also working very closely with the Tobago Regional Health Authority to improve the facilities that we have, because what we are doing in the wellness and prevention component, we're starting now and we're doing it now, but it will take a while to kick in, and we still have to treat the sick people who are already on island now. So
Right.
we are working towards improving our emergency response, for example. We
Right.
are working towards improving our cancer care services. We are working towards improving what we do in the primary healthcare, so in the in the health centers and ensure that you actually get a higher level of care in the health centers so that you don't have to get sick enough to have to go to the
The
hospitals.
hospitals, right.
And
So-
those are the kinds of processes that we are working
So level
through
of
and
triaging,
implementing.
basically.
Exactly. We're
Okay.
doing the triaging a little better. We are going to be working towards, hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to see how we could do it. We want to even have our EMTs, who are the people on the ambulances, move from just being EMTs to actually being paramedics,
Paramedics,
so
yeah.
that they could actually implement quality care in the ambulance
But-
on the way to
Who-
the
who
hospital
sets,
if
who
need
sets
be.
the protocols? Because I was well, I'm my first flight paramedic in Trinidad and Tobago from years ago, right? And I could have administered drugs on an aircraft,
On aircrafts.
to Augusta Slum or any one of those premier hospitals,
Right.
And when Mr. Helma Hilwig, who was in charge of Eric Williams, well, he designed our protocols for
Right.
us in terms of how we administer
How you
drugs and
administer.
so on. And that has been taken away from GMR and all the other ambulance services. So you can't really
Do that.
and the golden hour is very important in terms
Exactly.
of how
You
you
know
treat
what
a
you're talking
patient.
about, man.
Yeah. Well, I did this for years. So that golden hour is important in how you treat the patient when it gets to an actual facility. But that has been removed from
So-
those
so-
healthcare providers. So
The good thing about Tobago is that the Tobago House of Assembly, through the Tobago House of Assembly Act, is responsible for the implementation, the setting and implementation of policies
Right.
as it relates to Tobago for the items that are under the 5th schedule of the THA Act. One of the items under the 5th schedule of the THA Act is health. Therefore, I am the one who has the responsibility to set
Okay.
those policies.
Protocols and so on.
Working with the Tobago Regional Health Authority, our only caveat is it can't be against any national written law.
Right.
And there is no written law
Well, no,
that
there,
says
yeah.
we can't do it. So we are going to do the policies and we are going to implement those policies in Tobago because we have the authority to do it.
Okay, very interesting. Very
We
interesting.
we have about 3 to 4 more minutes. I just want to find out, do you think Tobago need any more health infrastructure that, like in any one of the villages, they need a health center or need any more and thing like that?
So no, actually, Tobago has too many health facilities. We do. We have 116 square miles island, right? We have 2 proper hospitals. We have 60,000 people, and we have about 20 or so other health facilities, health centers.
Okay.
If you drive for 2 minutes, you're bouncing up on another health center.
Right.
So what we are doing though is working through to ensure that the services you get at the health center is the best that you can get. And part of the problem is we have limited health professionals. So when you go to the health center after 3 in the afternoon, there is no one there because we're trying to spread out the doctors and the nurses too
Okay,
far.
So
okay.
I guess to get more health professionals.
Well, but remember, we're already spending $50 million a month.
Wow.
Getting more health professionals is going to carry that up
the
even
bill,
more.
right,
What
okay.
we need to do is to spend time,
Manage
and
what
there's,
we have.
there's actually a group of people who are right now plotting out the best way to use the health facilities that we have. In some instances, we may not necessarily shut them down, but use them for more exercising, and you come and learn how to cook healthier and that kind of stuff. Instead of it just being a health center that you just open early and thing. So no, we don't need any more. We may need more specialized. So for example, we are going to produce an oncology unit that is going to be
in Tobago?
in Tobago. We are
Okay,
working
okay.
on that now.
Right.
And that is going to expand our oncology services, for example. But in terms of just regular health centers and so forth, no, we're not adding anymore.
Okay, very interesting. But we have just about 2 minutes before we go to a break.
Yes.
But in general, our health and safety practices and standards that we use with where tourists are concerned, the expansion of the island and so on. Anything on that in that 2 minutes?
So what we're doing is really encouraging people to be safe. We have worked, for example, very closely with CAFA, who has been implementing a health tourism mechanism where the hotels, for example, know if you have visitors in your hotel who get sick, you know exactly who to call very quickly, so
Right,
that we
okay,
can
okay.
we can manage
So
that.
there's a unit that deals with that.
So the public health inspectors and so forth are also part of doing that, and that is why we come in and we help with food safety, water safety, patient safety, visitor safety. All of that is part of what happens under the office of the county medical officer of health right now.
So,
Mhm.
Miss Faith, we want to, Dr. Faith, sorry, we
Yes.
want to wrap up. We're going for a break, right? When the
So
break is over, we're going to be back.
we have had the Secretary of Health for the
Yeah.
Tobago House of Assembly and also the Deputy Political Leader, who has given us an insight into some things that are pressing,
Yes.
basically, and and she seems to. Well,
She knows her stuff.
I'm quite a good job. Yeah. You are epitome of what it's supposed to be and understanding your role and function.
Thank you.
So it was a pleasure having you today.
Same here.
And look forward to having an interview with you sometime in the future.
Certainly a
Again.
pleasure being here as well. Thank you for calling me.
Right. Okay. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Have a good day. So we'll be back
Wednesday,
right
May
here.
13, Talk City 91.1 FM goes live from Tobago from 6 a.m. straight to 12 noon. We're taking you out of the studio and onto the Sister Isle, broadcasting from the beautiful Cocoa Reef Hotel. Start your morning with the Ground Report, featuring Lennox Smith, Andy Williams, and Nigel Snipes, bringing you real talk, real issues, and real voices from Tobago. Then from 9 a.m., it's Off the Record with Stephan Reef and Mr. X, unfiltered, in-depth, and right where the action is. We'll be speaking with key decision makers and influencers shaping Tobago's future. Tourism, business development, and the real issues affecting Tobago all front and center. Live, direct, unfiltered. Don't miss it. Talk City 91.1 FM live from Tobago this Wednesday, May 13, from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. Talk that matters, where it matters. Wednesday, May 13, Talk City 91.1 FM goes live from Tobago from 6 a.m. straight to 12 noon. We're taking you out of the studio and onto the Sister Isle, broadcasting from the beautiful Cocoa Reef Hotel. Start your morning with the Ground Report, featuring Lennox Smith, Andy Williams, and Nigel Snipes, bringing you real talk, real issues, and real voices from Tobago. Then from 9 a.m., it's Off the Record with Stephan Reef and Mr. X, unfiltered, in-depth, and right where the action is. We'll be speaking with key decision makers and influencers shaping Tobago's future. Tourism, business development, and the real issues affecting Tobago all front and center. Live, direct, unfiltered. Don't miss it. Talk City 91.1 FM live from Tobago this Wednesday, May 13, from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. Talk that matters, where it matters.
Okay, people, we're back inside, and this is off the record. Of course, myself, Miss X, and Heavy is in your company, and we are taking it till 12 noon, and we are live at Reef Hotel. Yes, Reef, one of the premier hotels in Trinidad and Tobago, and thank you for your hospitality, people, for doing it, nicely. And today I have one of my good friends for years. I was a young whippersnapper when I saw her first came out. I was in the NAR back then.
Back then,
Yes.
the NAR.
And this is a lady that has been at different dispensations over the years, doing different things for different people. But one thing I know, she has a love for people,
Yes.
and a love for her work. But if it ain't good, she not putting it out. That's one thing I know about her. It has to be good, and she gives you good talking points and give you good thinking points from the years that I have known her. This is Miss Karen Bart Alexander.
Yes.
All right, and she is in with us with tourism and the development of tourism on the island of Tobago. She has moved across to Tobago now in her twilight years, basically, but she's still fighting the fight as normal, and she's doing her thing in the tourism sector and on other NGOs on the island and so on. So I want to welcome you this morning, Miss Karen Bart Alexander.
Thank you very much, Gerard.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here with you and to see you again. We haven't seen each other for a long time.
Yep. But I follow you on Facebook and other places that you make a commentary from time to time.
Okay.
And so it is quite a pleasure to have you here to answer some questions and tell us your viewpoints on certain issues that are happening in Tobago.
Yes,
right?
Gerard, and I always have plenty viewpoints.
Well, I know that. Sometimes they come controversial, but you have to buck the system in order to get it changed, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah. Yes, they are.
And change is one thing that is very much constant as we go along.
That's right.
Right? So, you're familiar with the Blue Tourism Initiative that is happening in Tobago?
Well, I have read up on it. I have seen some bit of evidence of it. Right? The initiative is really geared towards getting people organized around a more eco-friendly kind of environment in Tobago.
Okay.
An environment that maintains the integrity of the environment.
Right.
Right? The initiative is led by Canary.
By who?
Canary organization.
Okay.
Yes, and it is linked to the Blue Flag, the Blue Flag initiative.
Right.
That is global, whereby certain areas become certified that they are following certain criteria that maintains the integrity of the environment.
Okay. So basically, in terms of the eco tours and all these different these kind of local cooperatives and all that sort of stuff.
That's right. And the idea behind making it local is to maintain the integrity of the culture and the Tobago-ness and so of the product, because we don't want to have a situation where Tobago produces what every other island produces in the Caribbean.
Right, okay.
So it means that Tobago needs to protect its culture and protect the way it does things so that it does not become over commercialized.
Okay.
It does not look like everybody else's product.
I think along the lines are too modernized.
And but being too modernized does not necessarily mean that you compromise the integrity of the, the local nature of the product.
Right.
You can be modernized, but you have to ensure that your experience remains very Tobago. Whether it's your
Like
food,
traditional Tobago.
your music,
Yeah.
your culture, and all of those kinds of things. That experience that you have, the narrative that people are told, all of that has to maintain that local integrity.
Local flair. as
The
you were
local
saying.
flair, that's right.
All right, all right, all right. So there's a team looking at initiatives like those and keeping them in aligned with the theme, basically.
Yes, they have been conducting workshops
Right.
and training and so to build capacity in the communities, because it is very important that the communities retain the capacity to make a difference and to progress and to implement. So these workshops are very important training. And what the training does as well is to make the product or the service more uniform, so that you don't get one thing here and another thing there, and the standard is.
And how is it going so far, thus far?
Well, I have not been intimately involved
Right.
with it, but knowing the organizations that are working at it, I know that they would be really trying to do a very good job on
Right.
it.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. Well,
But, Jared, I have to say that community tourism is an area that we have to pay more serious attention to in
Well, I know
Trinidad
you have been saying that for quite a number of
and
years.
Tobago. Yes, yes, because you see, it can do so many things to improve what we are offering,
right.
and it can also build the people within the communities,
Right.
build their skills, build their economic fortunes, and all of that. So it's very important. I remember when the UNC was first in office under Basdeo Pandey,
Right.
there was a robust community tourism initiative going in Trinidad and Tobago. And since then, we have not seen that level of commitment to community tourism.
Right. Okay.
We are just, people in communities are doing things related to the tourism industry. But that getting together and mobilizing of the community to deal with its assets and to generate income around its assets and all that from tourism, we have not seen that kind of committed infrastructure put in place.
Okay.
And there's need for committed infrastructure, because everything has a technique, as my mom used to tell me. Everything has a methodology. And community tourism has a methodology,
Right.
right? First of all, you have to mobilize the community properly. It's not just that, you get 2-3 people in a room. You have to get your stakeholders together,
Right. Okay.
right? So you have to mobilize. And once you've mobilized, you have to map your assets. Now, recognizing the assets of a community is something that the community has to be guided to do, because you have different kinds of assets. You have your culinary assets, you have your natural assets, you have your legends, and so you have all kinds of assets in a community that
Right.
can be used for tourism purposes. And therefore, recognizing those assets, all your historical sites, and so all your
well, a lot of
waterfalls
them
and your
over here.
natural things. Because, for example, they were telling me recently that Tobago has 16 waterfalls.
Okay.
Right? Now, all we ever hear about is Argyle.
Yeah. Argyle.
Right? And the guy who told me that is a tour guide. Now, he says 16 waterfalls. There are probably more. That's what he knows.
Right.
16. But where in Tobago can I go and get a waterfall tour? Who does
Good
a
question.
waterfall tour in Tobago?
True.
You understand? So these are things that we can develop around the area of in community tourism, because all of these waterfalls are in some community. So they are a valuable asset to the community that they are in.
Right.
And therefore, mobilizing the community to benefit from the asset of a waterfall, that is the essence of community tourism. That is what it is all about.
Right, okay.
So you will need to have infrastructure. You will need to have a team, a management team who would maintain and, put in the processes and so for getting in the income and how to utilize the income and all of these kinds of things. So it is, and we are sitting on a gold mine as far as the assets and communities in Trinidad and Tobago are concerned. We are sitting on a gold mine, and there are many opportunities for economic development related to the assets in our communities.
So,
Well,
go ahead. So why do you think more is not being done to tap into this industry with an asset, as you say?
I think one of the problems that we have in the tourism industry in Trinidad and Tobago is that tourism is seen as a place where we put friends, family, party supporters. It is not seen as a discipline that requires expertise. And so sometimes we have a lot of square pegs in wrong holes in tourism. And people who are not particularly passionate about the industry, they got a nice cushy job and more or less that is it, right? And we in Trinidad and Tobago, we have a kind of cultural thing where expertise is not regarded much and respected as much as it should be, right? So, and two, sometimes the funding is not available as it should be for this purpose. And so what we need to do is look, because there are agencies and organizations outside as well who would be interested in funding these initiatives. I know, for example, right now, Digicel has a fund open for applications until the end of May. And that is about economic projects relating to natural resources.
Right.
So that is an area that a community could possibly zero into and get, I think it's $100,000 for a project, right? So the funding, it is a dedicated funding needs to be put aside in our national budget for community tourism. And if dedicated funding is put aside, then that is an area that we can draw from for the projects in communities that can now help with alleviation of poverty in communities and so on.
All right. Well, this is a ticklish question, right? You have made all your contributions in Trinidad from all that I know, most of your contributions from Trinidad. And you have, well, not recently, but you have moved to Tobago.
7 years now.
Right. What is that transition like, where your work is concerned, where your NGO work is concerned, and so on, so that people can understand the journey that you have, because you have a lot of history that a lot of people don't know about, right? But I know about a lot. But I want the Trinidad to get your experience in Tobago, where tourism is concerned especially, because that's where most of your work would have been, your bulk of your work would have been put into, your heart and soul into that. So being in Tobago now, what is your view?
That's
Your
an
honest-
interesting question, Gerard,
Yeah.
because when I came to Tobago at first, I was selected to sit on a board.
Right.
And that board was a board designed to develop a tourism product
Right.
around the cocoa industry
All
in
right.
Tobago. But what is interesting is that the person who led the board was actually a crop specialist
Okay.
and not a tourism
Specialist. Yeah.
specialist.
Right.
And therefore, we were not able to accomplish as much as I thought we could have accomplished because, you know, sometimes you go as far as the leader can take you.
Okay.
So it didn't really happen in the way that it could have happened. And I think that we could have laid down a lot more than we actually did in terms of the infrastructure
Right.
for the project. And we were not able to do much of that. So if you go back to the site, the same estate now,
Yeah.
you know, it looks just like it looked when we started, right?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but it's not that that anything was wrong with the lady or her expertise or anything like that. She was a very beautiful person, and was passionate about what she was doing and all of that. But if your expertise is in crop specialization, and you are trying to
You-
conduct
You will only be focused on that.
a
Basically.
tourism
Yeah.
project, it makes it very difficult, and you need now to depend on your people on the project, on the board, who are involved and have experience developing tourism projects.
Right.
And somehow that did not really happen. We also had another gentleman on the board who really knew what he was about. He has since died, Axback they call him. He was a Tobago icon involved in calypso and culture and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I thought, you know, just sometimes stepping back and observing that he really could have taken us some places, but he was not really listened to. And
Okay,
so,
okay. Unfortunately, again.
unfortunately, again, and so we did not get as far as we would have liked to get. Then I was involved in a very, very interesting project. And, you know, kudos to Alicia Edwards, who was then the chairman of the organization, the tourism agency. And she pulled me in to do a community tourism project along a coast, a line of coast that is very neglected in Tobago. It's not as developed
Okay.
as the Crown Point area and so on, and needed to have some more input, some more work done in terms of development work. And so I had my task was to develop income generating projects in those communities from Hope to Charlottesville.
Okay, okay. That's a long stretch.
It's a long stretch, it's about 8 communities.
Yeah.
And we set about, of course, I established the methodology with my inception report, and so it was accepted and all of that. And we set about to begin to map the assets of each community.
Okay.
We did that, and just as we did that, I got a call saying that the project was no longer a priority and they are not going to continue the project. I was very, very disappointed because now we had a dossier
Right.
containing all of the assets of those communities.
Right.
And those assets, the next step was to conduct a workshop
Right.
with the communities in which now they start to design the income generating projects around the assets that they have.
Okay.
And
Something like dirt oven bread and that kind of stuff.
not on that side, that's more on the
Castara
Castara,
side.
Palatuvier side.
Right.
But on that side, there were some rivers, waterfalls, historical sites, interesting historical sites, and so on, festivals, and all of those kinds of things, right? So that didn't happen. I think there was some internal something because the chairman resigned shortly after. There was some internal thing going on that probably had nothing to do with the project,
Right.
but the project was a casualty of it.
Right.
And I am still interested in seeing that project continued because Well, first of all, the people became excited. When I get into a project,
Yeah.
I get people excited about the project, and that was one of the hallmarks of my work in Trinidad with
Right.
community tourism. Each community I went into became excited about the future and the expectations and all that. So when you go into a community, you raise expectations. You raise expectations that life will improve, that things are going to get better in the community, that things will happen that were not happening before and all that. So when you just move out and you disappoint the people, they become very apathetic, and it becomes difficult when you get back inside to get them interested once more. It becomes difficult. Anybody coming in now to do projects, oh, you know, we've been there, we've done that, and so on. So the people kind of lose interest, and that is unfortunate.
They get despondent.
They get despondent. So we really need to be careful about that. We need to be careful about raising people's expectations and not delivering. So I hope that people are listening to me who will have the influence to encourage us to continue with that project from Hope to Charlottesville, because those communities are rich in assets, but they are poor in leadership, poor in facilities, poor in sometimes ideas. But when you took them a little bit, you'd be amazed at how the ideas come to the fore, and they are able to generate ideas that will help themselves, and they are able to do things to help themselves to better their conditions in life.
Right.
You know? And even so, if we have a robust community tourism program in Tobago, it means all of Tobago benefits from tourism, and the communities will see less of a drain on revenue coming out of the communities. Because what happens if you don't have a powerful community tourism program is that the smarter ones, the bigger ones, the better, those who have deeper pockets are able to come in, benefit from the community in terms of revenue and all of that, and take that revenue out of the community and carry it elsewhere. Wow. So the community itself does not benefit as it should benefit from the assets that they have. And we see that all the time. It happens.
Well,
Okay.
we gotta wrap up.
Well, we have to wrap up.
Yes.
So, Ms. Karen Bart-Alexander, we are lucky to have your insightful view on these issues where tourism is concerned.
Correct.
Because this is a tourism island, basically. We have to make it into a tourism island and put all the things that we need to put inside of
Definitely.
Yes.
that.
Definitely.
So it was indeed a pleasure having you here today.
Yes.
Thank you
And,
so much, Gerard. And if I can say a last word, our communities need to become more resilient.
Yeah.
And in order for them to become more resilient, they must know, they must have an idea and be clear about what resilience is, because we throw around that word all the time,
Right.
but we are not clear about what resilience is. So we cannot implement the conditions for resilience,
Right.
and we cannot monitor to see how resilient we are. We can't measure. So we need to put all those things in place, and there are ways that you can do it, because there are characteristics of resilience that we need to pay attention to.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
For your insightful view.
Thank
So we're
you.
going for a break right here on Talk City 91.1 FM, and we're going to be right back.
On Wednesday, May 13, Talk City 91.1 FM goes live from Tobago from 6 a.m. straight to 12 noon. We're taking you out of the studio and onto the Sister Isle, broadcasting from the beautiful Cocoa Reef Hotel. Start your morning with the Ground Report, featuring Lennox Smith, Andy Williams, and Nigel Snipes, bringing you real talk, real issues, and real voices from Tobago. Then from 9 a.m., it's Off the Record with Stephan Reef and Mr. X, unfiltered, in-depth, and right where the action is. We'll be speaking with key decision makers and influencers shaping Tobago's future. Tourism, business development, and the real issues affecting Tobago all front and center. Live, direct, unfiltered. Don't miss it. Talk City 91.1 FM live from Tobago this Wednesday, May 13, from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. Talk that matters, where it matters.
Yes.
All right, people, we're back inside, right? And the breeze nice here. Breeze nice here in Cocoa Reef. I must say that, people. Cocoa Reef nice. Nice like All right, as they say, well, of course, myself and Heavy is here with you all at Cocoa Reef Hotel. We are doing our show off the record. And today we have our special guests. We have some special guests coming through, and we have our third special guest, Ms. Kay Trotman, the president of the Unique Bed and Breakfast and Self-Catering Association. Right? Well, we don't know what that is, but we'll find out very shortly.
Correct.
Ms. Kay Trotman will give us her insight into what this association does and how they can fit in, get in where they fit in, as I normally say, right? So tell us, Ms. Kay Trotman, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for having me this morning.
Right.
As president of the Tobago Unique Bed and Breakfast and Self-Catering Association, we are really the small tourism properties of Tobago for facilities with 10 rooms and under. The majority of us, there are about 50 of us on register, we have properties averaging 5 rooms and under. We have a few with between 6 rooms to 10 rooms.
Okay, so you all are like the in between the Airbnb, the large hotel, and you all fit smack dab in the middle.
Yes, in fact, we will consider ourselves to be the micro enterprises of the tourism sector.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Lovely, lovely. So tell us about competition and how does it work well for your organization, and what do you do in your organization to help these hotels to manage themselves better?
Okay. Well, in the first place, we need to see ourselves as small properties as not being in competition with the larger properties. I think in Tobago, we need to have a broad cross-section of tourism facilities because there are so many different segments in the market out there that you need properties or accommodation that can fit various target markets and various pockets. So we should not see ourselves in competition, but basically see ourselves as coexisting in the space in a manner that helps to create a very stable, and I would want to use the word that your previous guest used, a very resilient and robust tourism industry.
Right.
So that's how we would like to be seen.
Okay. So in terms of you existing with the bigger hotels like these and others, how do you prepare your members for that kind of coexisting kind of, that the word? Yeah,
Yes, coexistence. Well, traditionally, smaller properties have been very fearful of large properties because of what they are in themselves. They are mega resorts, the Sandals type, the Marriott type. And most of our population sees themselves as being pushed out of the fray by these larger hotels. So I think there needs to be a lot of education about what really Tobago needs in terms of on its tourism landscape and where we fit in. And therefore that requires a kind of conversation between the private sector, tourism stakeholders, and the public entities like the Division of Tourism, TTAL, the Tourism Development, Tobago Tourism Agency, as to laying out quite clearly what the tourism landscape of Tobago should be like along this whole development path that the government wants to pursue.
Okay.
And what are some of the problems you all face, like on a day-to-day?
Okay. Obviously, the first one that would come to mind, and every small property would tell you, access to appropriate financing to do whatever expansion, upgrades, certification that may be necessary. One of the challenges of small properties is that because of our size, remember I said 5 rooms on average, operators tend to be chief cook and bottle wash, are doing everything. A cleaning, a cooking breakfast, doing housekeeping, are doing the marketing, are doing the finance, the record, are doing the training. So because you're chief cook and bottle wash, both operationally and strategically, you become challenged in what you can do And therefore, you sometimes fall behind and you get overwhelmed. You can only focus on so many things at one time. So that becomes a significant challenge for us. Visibility is also a challenge for us on the international market. We do not have the large budgets as the mega properties to do international marketing.
And advertising and stuff.
Right. Even though social media is quote unquote free, the capacity to do social media marketing is also a challenge because given some of the age limit of our membership, you may have older folks doing bed and breakfast type operation and homestays.
Yeah.
And technology could be a very intimidating thing, but we need to build capacity. And whereas it is difficult for one operation to handle all these things, we believe that a cluster approach, a grouping of small properties that specialize in the experiences that small properties bring, that authenticity of the Tobago product, is really where we would need to go if we are to maximize the benefits we can get in the tourism sector.
Okay. Tell us something about the sea bridge and the issues that affect you all in terms of international and local tourists and so on. How does it impact this association in terms of how it delivers?
The sea bridge and the air bridge is a perennial problem.
Okay.
I mean, this year it seemed, at least the air bridge seemed to work a little bit better during the peak season of Easter. But then we need to look at a more permanent type of arrangement. Small properties by nature, I said their visibility internationally is a challenge. The mega hotels are what tour operators look at to deal with getting their customers on the island. And for the specific reason that getting to Tobago is not the easiest. If you're coming from these various source markets, you're coming from Germany, you're coming from Scandinavia, you're coming from England, you're talking 8 hours plus traveling. And most of the times, it is not a direct flight to Tobago. You end up in Trinidad, having to deplane, face immigration, do your check, collect your bags, come across to the domestic terminal, do the process all over again, and then to get to Tobago. You are tired and frustrated as a traveler after traveling so long. So we need to make for the international folks that traveling a lot more seamless for such a long distance traveling that they can benefit, because by nature, all small properties face the challenge of getting international customers. Let me say not all, but most, because of that particular feature. And you would find that it is the mega hotels that would benefit from that, because once it is very difficult to travel to a destination, you would find your markets looking for more packaged, all-inclusive arrangements, especially on their first visit. And when you add all of that, that's why some of the small property owners may see themselves in direct competition with mega properties instead of coexisting, seeing how we could coexist.
You think the new A&I Robinson Airport will solve this traveling issue we're talking about here with regards to direct flights to Tobago?
Well, let me say, it could, but it wouldn't happen just because we have the physical structure of an international airport. There needs to be the policies and programs that support that physical infrastructure that builds out the tourism sector. We have to know what we want to offer. What is the tourism product? And you'd find after COVID, a lot of the international markets are looking for a kind of tourism experience. They're not looking for a product that is an accommodation. They are looking for the experience of the destination. And that is where things like community tourism comes in. What do we offer as a people? Tobagonians are known to be hospitable, genuine, loving, warm people who would give you the shirt on the back. But the thing is, we have to curate that in such a manner that it meets the international market so that they know when they're coming to Tobago to experience Tobago like a Tobagonian and get into immersive kind of activities So they're not coming to experience Tobago from a clinical point of view. You're coming to be a Tobagonian. You're coming to live like how we live, to live and eat like how we eat. You're coming to taste Tobago's sweet hand. You're coming to engage yourself in some of the activities that we grew up with, whether it's the cocoa experience, whether it is the fishing, seine fishing. You are coming to be a Tobagonian.
So in terms of, as you say, sweet hand, right? How do you think the modern traveler approaches when they come into a country? They come into either a big hotel chain, whatever, with the 5-star, and, the whole drama with the pools and whatever. How does that compete or measure up to a self-catered type villa with about 4 or 5 bedrooms and that sort of stuff? How does that equate? Is there a drop since then or now, or how does that equate?
Well, let me say, we have to recognize, the destinations have to recognize that the modern traveler now, travel trend is very different. Whereas traditionally people would have traveled to come to a 5-star all-inclusive, and there still are those traditional travelers, you are finding now that you have, especially since after COVID, you are having travelers that are looking for different things.
Right.
COVID made us feel pent up and socially distanced, and the kind of emotional distress we went through. Now you are finding the modern traveler looking for immersive experience, the experience of the destination. They're looking to see peace, tranquility, eco, kind of to settle the mind and well-being. So they're looking for a different type of experience that is more in sync with smaller properties. And independent, you're seeing a lot of independent travelers who would do their own bookings and not necessarily go through that 5-star tour package all-inclusive type of booking to do it. So you find that there are the modern travelers, there are people, there is a segment of the market, or there are various segments of the market, niche markets, that could be of benefit to the smaller properties because it allows the traveler to stay longer in the destination. It allows them to feel and be a part of the destination, and that in turn gives the kind of economic development spreading throughout the community so that the average Tobagonian in this case would benefit from tourism and not necessarily just the mega hotel. Right. And most of the mega hotels, you find that the revenue generated leaks out of the economy. But with the smaller properties, you see that revenue spreading, whether it doesn't go just to the facilities, but it goes to the fisherman, it goes to the farmer, it goes to the taxi driver, more so than it would with the mega hotels that do all-inclusive. But like I said, we have to understand that the market has various segments, and we now have to pair those segments with the appropriate facilities that Tobago has.
Okay.
With regards to domestic tourism, I know you all are bed and breakfast sections, So compare the domestic tourism now to international tourism. Is domestic tourism more important to the bed and breakfasts?
I wouldn't want to say it is more important. It has been very helpful in the times when we haven't been able to access international arrivals. So we have the benefit of having domestic tourism that can fill those low gaps. But as I said before, the smaller properties have other challenges why we cannot access international visitors as quickly and as readily as the large hotels. One of that has to do with payment mechanism. An international traveler wants to know they can call you and you can do whatever payments electronically.
Wire transfer.
Not even wire transfer. Credit cards.
Yes, well, as you're on that, right? Technology. We know with the advent of Airbnb, which works all around the world, it is the easiest way to get accommodation any part of the world by just going up on an app, basically. How has that worked for your organization in terms of getting people to gravitate and getting more people? Yes. Are your statistics saying more people, or are your statistics saying less people?
Okay, that is a kind of and kind of question. We do have quite a bit of our members who are also registered on Airbnb.
Right. Okay.
And they have been getting some traction. Some of us have not been getting traction, even though we are registered on Airbnb. But the Airbnb market I believe, needs tighter controls because you are competing so directly with businesses that are following the regulations from the tourism division to doing the things you need to do to be certified and up to standard. And quite a bit of these Airbnbs are not. There may be properties that, somebody has an extra room in their house kind of thing. And because they don't see themselves as needing any money from the government, so to speak, to do anything, or some people just don't want to put themselves on the radar because they don't want the taxman to know that they exist. So that you would find that creates a challenge because it means they can now offer properties a lot cheaper than the others that have these expenses of having to certify themselves and do the kind of quality checks and quality certification that guarantees a particular kind of stay. What happens when we have Airbnbs that are unregulated, it creates any negative fallout is a fallout for the entire sector and not just for the property concern. So the whole sector takes licks because of it. So that part of the thing that we need to do, we can't allow things to happen free for all. Then we need to find a way that brings everybody from Airbnb to guest houses to the mega hotels under a framework where quality standard is followed by all, where they contribute to whatever tax payments they have to. Because even though folks do not want to have to make themselves known to the taxman, not because you're registered to pay taxes, mean you pay taxes. Because your threshold as a small operator may keep you under the limit of having to pay taxes. But you have entered the formal private sector environment that allows for proper data to be kept on what is truly happening with the tourism product in Tobago. And because we still do have a large set of properties outside of being either captured by my association or the Hotel and Tourism Association or even tourism division and not being a part of any association, there's still a lot of properties outside of that. So we truly do not know or have the kind of data, robust data needed to make the kind of policy decisions fully that we need to. So sometimes we're still operating in the dark, guessing, because the registered properties may be 40% of all the tourism properties that may be on the island.
Okay, interesting.
So, the process now is to get some of these unregistered properties to register. Right? And most of them not registering because they don't want to fall into the tax bracket, which they do have no information about in the first place.
That is it.
So basically, this needs to be
robust education.
Yes, this needs to be communicated to them and make sure they come in, because if you get everybody under one umbrella, it will mean that everybody will now be able to facilitate whether or not and who is Airbnb and who is bed and breakfast and who is mega, and in that way now we will have a better product to sell for.
Agreed.
For the traveler who comes to Tobago.
Mark, I take this question.
Uh-huh.
How was that landlord tax affected you?
Oh, well, quite interestingly, you said that. We are confused. And this afternoon, actually, the tourism division is going to be having a meeting that brings us further information on that. Because technically, we don't see ourselves as landlords.
Right.
But
Why?
No, because they don't have
we
tenants.
see landlord as a long-term tenant.
Tenants, yeah.
Landlord doesn't have a definition.
But, and what is the reason for this surcharge? Because we're hearing it is to capture some of those folks that are not necessarily paying their due taxes.
Yeah.
So that, but there are those of us, we're paying green fund levy. we paying business
corporation
levy,
tax, you pay all the tax on them,
we paying all of that.
but you earn an income from your residence.
That is what we are paying, because small properties are really an extension of the residence. That's what homestay is all about. And we are registered businesses. We have names with Registrar General.
So,
we are
right.
we're in
already
the formal
registered.
sector.
Yeah.
I am talking about the properties that are already in the formal sector.
But that needs a special discussion. For Airbnb and for
Precisely.
small property developer, because technically there is no definition for a landlord per se. It would be somebody who is collecting rent for a dwelling house that is within their control, under their purview.
But we,
right?
yes.
In general. And that could be a day. That could be 2 days or whatever it is. But so long as you're making an income from it.
But we already pay on that.
They are registered businesses.
We are registered.
It's a difference.
It's a difference.
Like
10, yes.
If somebody register a hotel industry or something like that, then a man take his house, build some rooms on it, and say go and rent. Understand the difference? He's not registered.
So is the hotel a landlord?
No.
Why isn't he a landlord?
It's a business.
But we are a business too. I am registered just like the hotel. Yeah. I am in the formal sector. I'm not talking about those who are outside of the formal sector.
That needs to have a discussion.
I agree.
Among the stakeholders.
Agree.
And with the actual definition and scope
that, yes,
of where
and that has been some of the challenges, so that you'll have some policy decisions being made that handicap smaller operators. You are telling us, get into entrepreneurship, do these kind of things, that small thing, but then you hit us with all this kind of thing.
So we got to wrap up.
It was indeed a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Explain this section of accommodation to our listeners, so that they will understand, and we have some gray areas that will be sorted.
Yes, we do have some gray
point
areas.
in time. But you do your due for your association and make sure that your customers are pleased. But it's all about the experience.
It is.
Right? So
it is.
Indeed, have a good day. Any last comments? Any closing comments?
I would love us to recognize that tourism is not just about accommodation. The whole island is part of the tourism infrastructure, whether directly or indirectly. So we all need to put our best foot forward to develop this sector.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot,
Thank you so much.
Trotman.
Thank you for having me.
President of the Trinidad,
the Tobago Unique Bed and Breakfast and Self-Catering Association.
I never really heard this association, to be honest.
Just the small properties.
But they are there and to be reckoned with.
Right.
Yes,
Do your
they
thing.
Okay.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you so
Ms.
much.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going for a break. We'll be right back right here on Talk City 91.1 FM.
Right. Okay, people, we're back inside, and
Yes.
we are live and alive off the record. We are live and alive and alive.
And we are here.
In Reef, of course.
Cocoa
Myself and Heavy is here. Mr. X in your company. The breeze nice. The breeze getting nicer as the day flowing. As the day flowing, breeze blowing nicer down here. Yeah, nice deck interview. But basically, we have one more guest. We have one more or two more guests. Let me see. We have one more. No, we have one more after this one.
Right.
Which is good. Right? So we have Mr. Dexter Black, the president of the Tobago Reef Reef Operators Association. Good morning to you, Mr. Black. And how are you today?
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm fine today.
All right. Well, you're looking fine. You're looking you're looking a little nervous, but you're looking fine. All right. Right. So let's get into it, right? Tell us, I'll make it as broad as possible to start. And we had an incident recently. It affected, well, it resulted in a death, basically. And the chief secretary has said he don't want to hear anybody because he's been talking long enough. He's been talking about these issues, and he's basically put his foot down. What say you from your organization on that stance?
We can't put a band-aid on an issue. We have to deal with the issues holistically.
All right.
We have different operators in the marine park space. We have the jet ski, we have the windsurfers, the glass bottom boats. Varied interests, sharing the same space. I've been in this business almost 20 years.
Right.
And through about 4 chief secretaries,
Right.
and we have raised our issue with each of them. Right? And COVID gave us the opportunity to really flesh out some of the issues
Okay.
when there was a lockdown.
Right.
Right?
Right.
This association signed an MOU with the THA
Right.
for operations at the Reef Marine Park.
Right.
And it went well for a few months. Then the operators, they just went their own way.
That's all. That's all.
listen, Captain, I just want to find out, firstly, right, you said prior to COVID, you all had other issues with all the past secretaries of the Tobago House of Assembly. What are some of those issues, and what made COVID change, make everything like some of the issues solved? Name exactly what was happening before COVID and what happened during COVID that was better than when it didn't have COVID.
Well, prior to COVID, well, it was the industry was kind of helter-skelter.
Yeah.
Right? There was issues of overloading. There was, well, not so much the issue of the jet ski, because that was evolving then.
Right.
Now you have emerging businesses like the ticket craft,
Yeah.
which are not captured in the legislation, because that
So-
came
so-
after 2020.
So all these new things like jet ski, tiki crab, and all these things are new things that been incorporated in the same thing going on in Boca Reef.
Well, prior to that, the jet skis, they did not operate on the reef itself.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Right.
okay. First to begin, the THA is not in a position to make any laws, right? But they can issue rules that you follow for how you operate within the park.
Right.
I understand that these rules were adhered to for a while. They came up. All the stakeholders were called. They got into a group. They said they were going on. This is what we're proposing. This is how we want to operate. This is the silent rules that we operate by, which all operators supposed to know, right? And here it is, about 10 years later, we end up killing a child because somebody indiscriminately used a jet ski that cost the life of a little girl, right? So, which means we're going back to our old ways in how we were operating with the park, ignoring the rules of the park, right? And I guess that is what Farley is talking about. He's talking about we had a way forward, we have established rules, we are supposed to follow them, we are supposed to have the heads like yourself, have your operators follow in the rules and so on, and so we would not have incidents such as those. So this incident happened, and he has taken a hard stance that, hey, all you're not listening to us, and you all are doing your own things, and your own things has cost the life of a young child, right? So is it fair to say that he's being too draconian, or he's not taking you all on basically in terms of going forward? Because there are rules in place, right? Because I've seen rules in place.
Yes.
So I know there are rules in place. So if your operator does not follow these rules, how do we operate in that sphere? Where do we go from here, basically?
Well, being a small society, everybody's like family and friends.
Well, yeah,
Prior to this incident,
uh-huh.
when we had the organization going under another umbrella, the Tobago TCRO,
Right.
Tobago Reef Cooperative Operators.
Mm.
There was the same booth set up at Storby, where all the operators from Buku, Pigeon Point, and Storby, we were launching from Storby.
Mm-hmm.
There was an incident with one operator, and he was supposed to be disciplined for an infraction.
Right.
And he got encouragement from an official of the fisheries department.
Okay.
So that's where everything went south.
Okay. Interesting.
So in a sense, the operators are not to blame.
Also, one operator break the rules. He got a blight by some official in fisheries.
Yep.
And then all the other operators say, so if he break the rules, we can break the rules too.
Then everybody start dropping out.
Wow.
At the system.
So
they start dropping out of the organization.
Right.
So why is Farley's stance so unswallowable then? Let's put it that way.
That was prior to Farley. That was
That's
prior to
him.
prior to 2020.
Yes, but he has reached that point where he is fed up, because in THA you cannot make any laws because they don't have law operating the executive function of law, right?
Right.
But they can put in rules which they have established, and you all decide to break them. So what is the step forward? How we go forward from here?
Oh, yes.
But we just killed a 7-year-old child, and we have to own that.
Well, I cannot speak for the jet ski operators. It's sad. Any loss of life is sad. Right? I am a glass bottom boat operator.
Right.
And for myself and for my organization, I try to uphold the rule of law.
Well, okay. Well, let's get to that. Last year I was here for Carnival. Last year I was here for Carnival, and 2 weeks prior to that, there were 2 boat sinking incidents. 2. And I remember on the news hearing somebody saying, go to the front of the boat, the captain of the boat, saying, go to the front of the boat, go to the front of the boat. I remember the 2 incidents, which means the boat was overloaded. And it was sinking, basically. So if you're head of the association, how is it, man, if your boat is allowed to hold 75, and you load up your boat with 150, and going out there with people's lives in your hands, and you have endangered 2 sets of people on 2 different occasions, right? I and all end up, when I came for Carnival actually, I end up in a canal in Island Pool, where I end up in no man's land and spending 5 hours on a boat trying to, because they're scooping out water from the back of the boat, because the boat, like it sank, coming into reversing into no man's land, the boat like it sank basically. And they were dipping out water and whatever and trying to figure out how the fuel going and all that kind of mad thing. And I end up on a boat for 5 hours. I don't want to be on a boat for 5 hours. I want to be on a boat for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So things like that. How are we managing things like that?
Who's regulating and actually, I don't want to use the word policing, but who is making sure everybody, well, be up to follow the rules and regulations, like regards to overloading, regards to how much people they can carry, regards to if they have live vests for everyone, regards to where you board or where you pick up, what time you drop off, you know? Or is it just a free fall right now?
As I said, being a part of the association, you are bounded by rules.
Right.
We have some independent operators
Not in the association?
that
Independent operators
do their
following
own
outside the
thing.
rules.
Do their own thing.
So they're not a part of the association?
Because once you have your license, you have your insurance, you could operate.
Once you have your license, insurance, you can
Your
operate.
license
But
from maritime.
I see in the rules, right?
So-
They talk about specifics around how you get your boat license and all that sort of stuff, right?
Right.
Have you all ever heard of STCW 50?
No, I have.
That's a set of rules that govern maritime operations and SOLAS operations, right? Which it deals with maritime issue like bosun training, captain's license, how you operate, all these different things, right? These courses get you to a point where you understand your responsibilities as a seafarer, right? I did not see that in the ministry in the THA rules, right? That they came up. So who came up with those rules first to begin, and what is your stance on those rules?
You mean in the bill?
Yes, and well, in the rules, because there's no bill can be had from the THE.
The proposed bill?
No, it can't. But there's no lawmaking ability from the THE.
Right.
So the rules that
So this is the document we're talking about.
Yes, that's the document that I saw that you all submitted.
Right.
As
That-
the rules that you all to follow.
From what I understand, that bill was crafted by some fisheries officers. I don't know who else had an input.
All right. Okay.
But some of the measures, being a practical person, does not make any sense at all. There's a lot of duplicity in fees, and they really need some serious consultation with the stakeholders.
Okay. So
Because this is what the marine pass looks like. So whatever they propose to pay for that pass, it used to be $1,000 then. So you're paying, let's say probably $3,000 now. Then you have to pay your mooring fees. You have to pay different fees in addition to the book Reef pass to operate in the same space.
have you all gotten any training for those passes? Any kind of training, any kind of bosun training?
Yes,
small
you
aircraft
have to be
training?
certified. You have to
Have
be
to be
licensed
certified.
to get your launch captain. Mr. Alfred, he conducts the training, but
so
he's
how
not
is
here.
it? How is it a vessel designed for 65 is holding 150 people? That's the issue, really.
and the terms of conditions said that vessel must adhere to the guidelines pertaining to the vessel's capacity number of passengers.
Right, those are the marine park rules.
So I remember, as I told you, before Carnival last year, 2 vessels on 2 different occasions sank outside there with passengers in it. And fortunately, nobody died, I think.
No, nobody died.
Right, nobody died. But 2 vessels sank. Were they independent operators or are they part of the association?
They were independent operators.
So they are independent operators operating without this. Without this document
this
here
thing.
that they pay the fee.
Well, everybody would have gotten that document.
Everybody have this who
But-
operating.
If somebody operates in the night,
Yeah, but they can't just
They-
run.
they-
So nobody. So you have nobody checking the vessels, and then when they actually go out to sea.
I think
Because-
The
Because
Marine
normally
Patrol,
you would have-
they finish at 5.
because
The
I
Marine
know,
Park Rangers, they finish at 5.
and I know for last year Carnival again,
So,
there were officers from the Marine unit up here. Because I saw them on No Man's Land. The unit that
The
operates,
River
Marine
Marine,
unit.
yeah.
Right, they operate, so they don't check those vessels when they go out to, to comply with the rules and so on, or if they be breaking the rules or anything like that.
yes, they do make checks.
But not in the night.
I doubt in the night.
This is a mystery,
All right.
indeed.
So, as you said, it's each man to his own.
So well, this
So
needs
the-
a lot of how I put it. It needs a. Right now, in my view, in my humble view, I feel this is a free for all. I think people are taking advantage of the situation that is happening right now, and I think some strict rules and regulations and some laws need to be passed.
Well,
Now
yeah, but the rules were passed and agreed by all stakeholders. So there's a whole list of rules that they have to follow in terms of how they get the license, how they
Right.
go out there, how they
Right.
load the vessel, how they take
But-
people off the vessel, all that sort of stuff.
mhm.
But that is not being adhered to. So I'm asking via the association, what is your take on this issue? How are you all
How are
going
you
to
going
manage
to
this?
manage this?
If I should really say some things, I would be a very controversial person. But the breakdown,
If it comes controversy.
the breakdown to me is encouraged. It was encouraged.
I believe you have a lot to say and
Because-
don't want to say it.
Yeah,
Because,
I-
during COVID there were strict rules.
but we don't want to back it. We don't want
There
to
were
back it
strict
back on.
there were strict rules in place.
But we know
So
that
for,
because
yes, we know for
that.
COVID that strict rules in place and everything was working fine.
Right? So prior
Because
to that,
of COVID.
you had a degenerate
The generation of the rules and that
Degeneration.
sort of stuff. We understand that. But
and people
how do we
saying
go
they
forward from
own their
here?
own vessel.
how do we solve the problem? So forget
Yes.
about owning their own vessel. Everybody know they own their vessel. Everybody out there own their own vessel. From jet ski to tiki craft or whatever it is.
Yes.
How are we managing the situation going forward?
Because now lives are involved.
Well, I am not against the government bill or the proposed rules.
right.
But what I am proposing, or what I would like to see, is consultation. So, what is applied would be practical and not impractical. Because without consultation, the law would be impractical. So, you need to meet with the stakeholders and find a common way forward so everybody would support
But
proposal.
that has been done.
So yes, that's what we
And there
said.
are rules.
Those are
So
rules,
if you
not
choose to-
laws.
Well, whether
And
these rules or laws,
some of the
maritime-
operators are very aware of that.
Yes, but
Yeah.
maritime law
Mhm.
succeeds any other.
The laws of
I don't
state.
understand. So
And who could enforce the
police,
marine
the
law?
DPS?
This is-
Only
the Coast Guard.
only the River Marine Police.
Uh-huh.
That's what we're getting to understand. They are the only
But
one
that
could
unit
enforce.
has been disbanded as of recently. So that
Yes.
riverine unit is no longer. So that's another drama by itself. But generally, something has to be done. So
Yes.
we have to meet somewhere.
Because
But we can't go.
It ca- it
We
can't
can't be going out there
continue
and
like
killing
this.
7-year-olds.
the last thing I know, they were asking for accommodation in Tobago.
Who?
This-
Well,
this
yeah,
is-
that's
yes,
what
right.
I'm asking.
They was asking for that. Yes.
And they got something in Boku. So I don't know what happened after that.
No, but it can't be a parlor, man. We can't be operating like a
no,
parlor.
Because
listen,
it's
I
a
just want to
total
know.
breakdown.
I need to know this. Can the organization, can the Tobago Reef Operators Association come together and ask all the operators to just stick and follow the rules, just to have everything going smoothly? Do they need to be policed to make sure that they do everything smoothly?
We need a management committee to manage the Boku
Yeah.
Reef Marine Park,
All I-
comprising of stakeholders and all the different entities, Coast Guard, police, Reef
But why,
Patrol,
though?
everybody.
Why they just can't follow the rules and just do what they're supposed to do in the right way?
Because they are human. Once that's how humans operate.
So we want some black ships outside there with
Yeah.
some draconian police
To
to
pick over them like
cuff them in the head and think they do the right thing.
it's not children they're dealing with. It's big people. It's big adults.
We just kill a 7-year-old because 10 feet from where where the demarcation is in Pigeon Point there.
Yeah.
10 feet from where the demarcation is, a jet ski enter that space by a local, not somebody who just come from Trinidad or who just take a jet ski
yeah.
no, it didn't work like that. There's somebody who local, who live in Canaan or wherever it is, right? Got into the airspace and killed a 7-year-old girl and injured her father and her mother and so on.
And that's not enough
So
for them to
that
come up
is
with
not
some rules
enough
and say,
for
well,
you
we
to say
make
enough
the
is
rules
enough?
straight and nobody don't break the rules no more, so we not have police over us.
Everybody know the rights and wrongs of the park.
Right.
We have been having issues. The glass bottom boat operators have been having issues with the jet skis
Right.
at Nylon Pool
Well,
because the guests,
long time, about
the
10
guests
years
are
ago,
complaining that they are riding when they are swimming.
Well, I got that issue
Too close.
about 10 years ago. That's why they came up with the barriers in the first place.
Yeah.
Because of that issue with jet skis just riding all
All over
you
the
have
place.
the whole ocean out there. How far the ocean is? Were you doing about 1 mile, well, less than a mile from the shoreline, where people are bathing, and you operating a craft? Something has to be wrong with that. Something has to be wrong with that.
Well, we had to wrap up. So, Mr. Dexter Black, we want to thank you. We hope that you all, on all your own, come up with the rules and abide by the rules, and don't need to get police and Coast Guard and everybody to come up there to make sure they abide by the rules. I mean, the lives are involved. And I think, let's just see the seriousness. I think I need to call a meeting with the jet skis, with the small craft, with the glass bottom boat. Everybody just call a meeting and fix it. You understand? The organization it's come like null and none and void because everybody just doing what they want. It's like a free fall. Right? So we want to thank you. Any last words?
Well, I hope good sense prevail. And as you said, everybody come together because there's a lot of egos and, put greed aside and work for the common good of tourism in Tobago.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. All right. So we're going for a break and we'll be back. All right. So keep it locked right here. We have another interview. So don't go away. We're live here on Off the Record.
All right. Okay. Have a good day, sir.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
On Wednesday, May 13, Talk City 91.1 FM goes live from Tobago from 6 a.m. straight to 12 noon. We're taking you out of the studio and onto the Sister Isle, broadcasting from the beautiful Cocoa Reef Hotel. Start your morning with the Ground Report, featuring Lennox Smith, Andy Williams, and Nigel Snipes, bringing you real talk, real issues, and real voices from Tobago. Then from 9 a.m., it's Off the Record with Stephan Reef and Mr. X, unfiltered, in-depth, and right where the action is. We'll be speaking with key decision makers and influencers shaping Tobago's future. Tourism, business development, and the real issues affecting Tobago all front and center. Live, direct, unfiltered. Don't miss it. Talk City 91.1 FM live from Tobago. This Wednesday, May 13, from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. Talk that matters, where it matters.
All right, people,
Yes.
we're back inside, and we are off the record, and we are here at Reef, giving our listening, I should say,
Yes.
to all the people that have been interviewed thus far. We thank all of you all for taking your time to come here, and expose your virtues. And myself and Heavy is here.
And of course, we must say we are at the beautiful Coco Reef Hotel, right? Tobago. That's Coco Reef.
And I must say, I have with our guest today, who has been one of my heroes. She's talk like me. She's talk like me in terms of very frank
Yes.
and very straightforward. And
Right.
if you're doing the wrong things, you will be heard, whether you like it or not. So it is what it is, right? So we have Miss Diane Haddad, the businesswoman, former chairman of Tobago Vision, the Chamber and Industry and Commerce, right? She is the head of the chamber and head over here in Tobago, and she has made former, right? Well, let's get into it. Morning, Miss Diane Haddad. Morning.
Good morning,
Welcome.
gentlemen, and good morning to your listeners and viewers.
Right.
I think you have to change the name of the show
Why is that?
because off the record, you only got the information off the record. You didn't get it here. So you got to change the show to on the record. So when you invite your guests, they will be more open
Yes.
because we got the whole story off the record.
Stories, you mean?
Stories. We want the record.
Yes. We want the
Yes.
record.
We want
so
the
that we can
record to
get
play a
put- yeah.
LP, not a 45.
Definitely.
I like this woman already, right?
Yes.
I love how she articulates. So tell us about the navigating of business, ease of doing business on the island, and where the gaps currently lie in the Tobago space.
We have no clear direction or
Right.
guide as to where the island is heading
Right.
economically. I want to say educationally, physically. I even want to add in there spiritually and emotionally.
Right.
It seems as though we are just at a flat line, and so you are really going day to day. It's more like you're churning your energy going, but you're not sure which direction to turn your steering. And that leaves you really in an ambiguous space,
Right.
and answering questions become very difficult for your financial situation, your age, your direction for your business, and therefore where do you go from here? What are the, because
Yeah.
I have to say many of the persons that have contributed over the years are at a particular age now. They've lost 20-something years of their life, contributing, giving, trying. And you've reached a stage where you also have to make another decision. What is in my best interest for my health? I'm no longer 40-something. I am now 60-something kind of thing. I now have my children are all grown. I am now a grandmother or grandfather. Does it have the same value to me? And unfortunately, we are at a place where the place is stagnated, flat, and there's no clear eye or vision for where we're going.
Have you had any consultations with the THA in your sphere and your level of experience where these things are concerned?
Unfortunately, within 3 to 4 months of their first tenure,
Right.
there was nothing with anybody other than it seems to be nepotism or favoritism, as Dexter was trying to say but did not want to say.
Right.
That it was all about maybe it's we time now, it's our side now, and there isn't the bigger picture of view for the island and the people of the island, and by extension, the people we invite or would like to invite to the island. We seem to miss the point that the universe doesn't belong to us.
Right.
This does not belong to us. We're actually here on shared time. And we need to understand that.
What do you think about economic diversification of Tobago besides just the sand, sea, and sun aspect of it?
Well, economic diversification comes from when you have vision and ideas and you have put all the tentacles together to bring that, because that comes with a certain level of productivity, that determination for success, ideas. We're talking about, I want to say intellect, the education. You just don't diversify. Even Trinidad is struggling to diversify, and they are a lot more advanced than Tobago in terms of all those qualities that I just spoke about.
Right.
And it has to do with the will of your governing bodies that we are going to shift from here to here, and we're going to do it within a specific timeline. Private sector does it.
Right.
Private sector decides the business is no longer happening in this way, and based on what's happening globally or internationally, we need to align ourselves to benefit in this way.
Right.
And we may need to drop a few handles now. We may need to pick up something else. So in order to do it, we need to change how we reroute things, how we do things. They sit and do that. I am not sure that that expertise resides in the THA as we speak, in terms of coming together with that brain power for vision and mission.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Must say. Very interesting.
There's a big ball.
Yeah, big ball.
Yeah. Well,
A big ball.
I can't say it any differently because most recently I was in a forum where I heard several persons, and I mean I'm talking about people with doctorates, speaking about our tourism secretary who was in Belize, saying that she doesn't know anything about tourism.
What is that?
So she was giving her remarks
Right.
and given an excuse that she doesn't know anything about tourism. You know, she was in education and whatever. And then we come now, and I hear it locally here, that when she gave whatever talk she gave, she's saying, even if I don't know about tourism, I either should have not accepted the post of Secretary for Tourism, or I should quickly engage persons who can give me and
Yes.
be able to open my brain to receive all of it, particularly that I boast of being an educator. Education is a two-way street.
Right.
People teach, you receive. So you become the quick student and you start to grasp knowledge and you explore. But you can't tell me that you sit in a cabinet or a, what they call it here, the,
The assembly,
no,
basically.
come on, the executive council.
Right.
You can't tell me I sit in an executive council and we are talking every week and supposedly reporting on each division, and I wasn't listening to the tourism secretary for 4 years. If I didn't catch anything from the tourism secretary in 4 years, my peer, then something is radically wrong. Hence my comment, and I'm
Right.
going to say it again,
Right.
which I have said previously. We have a brain power issue
Right.
in terms of how we receive. Dexter Black spoke about the egos and so. Good leaders are actually very humble. They may
Almost,
be
and they learn
confident.
They learn how to control their
They
emotional quotient.
are, but they are humble in terms of receiving because knowledge is continuous and knowledge is power. And every exercise you do is a learning exercise for you. If everything you don't learn something from it,
Something
then
else be wrong.
something has to be wrong and you feel you're reached. So there you have locked off and you can't receive anymore. But remember, life is a journey of learning and experiences, you know.
Well, yeah.
Until the day you close your eye and you move on to whatever that journey is, which none of us know because we haven't been there. It's a continuous journey. So when people have those positions about their role, how are we talking about this diversification?
Right.
When we already have labor issues, we already have timeline issues for people reporting for work, productivity issues. Diversification actually requires a higher output because you now got to convert within a smaller timeline in order to make it profitable.
Right.
It's just like an exercise I remember doing with agro-processors at the time. And great product, great packaging, but we don't understand how to mobilize or move our clock by our productivity within a certain timeline to make sure that it becomes profitable. Your price of your product is not determined by how slow you work.
Right.
Your price of your product is determined
Deliverable.
by what is the highest output
Output,
you
yeah.
can do.
Yes.
And actually get a deliverable.
Exactly. So this is the big failing.
Well,
So diversification.
well, that brings me into the conversation of THA's budget is next month. Do you think, or are there any consultations going on in terms of, or do you think it should have consultations before the budget, which comes up in next month?
Let me say, having sat at the head of the chamber for a number of years and participate in different roles, the budget has been repeat, replay, pause, erase, clean, repeat, replay. And I will say it again. I know I got into trouble one year when I was head in the chamber. I just changed the date on the request and I sent it back. The chief sec at the time was totally enraged. How dare I do that? But we had achieved nothing
This previous year.
for the last 10 years.
Yes.
So
So send it back.
the story remains the same, duh.
Yeah.
So, and I want to imagine they could go and pull the same document,
Right.
clean the date again, and we can do the same thing. But having
So-
said that,
But that's really up in
What?
in terms of, the spend and how you.
well, we have not seen any activity in 4 years. I cannot say. Now, I am no longer a member of the chamber. And I wanted to jump off the couch when Dexter was talking. Because when you speak of an association, which he kept referring to,
Yeah.
that the people who are members of the association, what you are doing is you are saying that the members comply, but the non-members, that is not correct.
Right.
We have both members who don't comply in this country of a lot of associations and use the association for their own agendas. We have people who are non-members who very much carry out decent business
Right.
and don't necessarily have to be a member to comply. And so it almost wants to say that if you're not a member of the association, the members are innocent and the non-members are guilty. That is not true.
That's nonsense.
It is absolute nonsense. However, the government officials, of course, will now say, well, we're not talking to any and everybody. We are going to speak only to associations, as the associations will be in the room.
Right.
If we have associations that have their own agenda,
Right.
or persons who helm an association. Many people fight to get to the top of an association so they could meet with politicians, so they could get a deal.
Yeah.
It's actually used now on people's resume, an opportunity for shake hands and drinks so we can cut a deal.
Right.
It is also done to get the position so you can stifle information to protect government.
Right.
That's what our associations have come to. So even that, has its own question marks. So when you say that they have consultations or not, they may choose a few of the favored ones that will sing the song they wish to hear. And then I call it the bleach cloth. I use the bleach cloth and clean it up and say, well, we consulted with, and they are in agreement. And that's the end of it. So the people have to start to take an individual account and decide, is this government doing what is right for us as a people? And not me, but us as a people. Me, I always say, I am a citizen of this country. I was born in Tobago. I belong here, and nobody's moving me.
Okay.
That's bottom line. You could put it in which category, shape you want, size, I'm not interested. The other thing is the resources of this country do not belong to politicians.
Correct.
It belongs to all of us.
Right.
And therefore, when it is time for those resources to be used, removed, spent, whatever, then we have a right to speak.
Right.
I am no longer in any association because for my own reasons, what I believe in and what I don't accept. However, it doesn't mean if you invited me, I'll say I'm not. I said yes, because I feel as a citizen, if I have the forum to speak out on things that are unpleasant and are unfair, that is affecting the whole of which I am a part, it is a reflection on me as well.
Correct.
Right.
So if I get the opportunity to say it and I shut up and decide I don't want to say it, I am equally guilty. There's nothing we can do to heal the pain of somebody who lost their child who came for a celebration.
Correct.
They will live for it until they die. In fact, we have killed them slowly. We didn't only kill a child. We killed an entire family. The process may be slower, but we have killed an entire family. And I say to you, and my powers are raising. So we need to stop using the associations, and the associations need to pull their structures back and start to get representation with integrity, representation with the whole and the goal of the mission and vision of the organization, and ensure that that is what is being mandated and put out there.
Yeah, because I was really taken aback with some of the statements that I've heard where that is concerned, because at the ending of the day, we took a life. So we're supposed to be doing things, always pulling the strings tighter, the reins tighter on the people that are under our jurisdiction. And I didn't get that impression.
Well,
that
what
is
I said
happening.
to you offline, I'm going to say it online.
Oh God, oh God.
I have persons who have reported
Right,
that people are being drugged on those boats
right.
and they are being taken advantage of. Husbands are being separated from wives, and that's the type of behavior we are conducting out there. So I am not, there are people who called me and said, I will not go back there for nothing. My child was exposed to that type of conduct.
Right.
So if I don't participate and I am not there, and people can pick up the phone and call me, nobody can convince me that members of the association or the people who uphold themselves as the innocent are not aware of those stories. And when do we correct each other? Is it because, as Dexter said, well, everybody close and his family and friend and his one big happy family? No. When do we come to what is right and what is wrong is wrong?
Right.
And where do we stand up for what? That is a problem in our country, that people don't want to stand up for what is right. Now everybody say, Miss Hara, everybody's shooting everybody these days or whatever. So it brings into the spirituality that we've lost.
All right.
Because I don't need, no gun can kill me.
All right, all right.
Papa God had to take me.
All right, all right.
So
Yeah,
we need to get it, that we need to get over the fear factor and start to operate at a different level. And if we started that, where the church is responsible, education system is responsible, family is responsible, then we get to the other sectors.
Right.
That is when we will start to see the change. But it cannot happen by just laws, because who crying out the law? How many police, what we had? Police involved in the guns and the thing missing? Police renting gun? Coast Guard letting the people pass? Who say all of that?
Well, it is what it is, right?
And therefore, nobody is without guilt and shame. So we need to start to bring it home to accountability.
Right.
All right, so another topic that I want to raise is the bank readiness of, the development plan for Tobago in terms of THA budget requests to a business. You said it will be like a business going to a bank. What is the bank readiness plan? Is there any plan at all where that's concerned?
Does the bank have, now the bank is private sector,
Right.
does the bank have the confidence in the leadership?
Right.
Part of a board running a bank has to sit and work out the same dynamics we spoke about. What is happening regionally, what is happening locally, what is happening globally, how do we fit in, and what do we do to survive through this, to make our billions through this, etc., etc. So the risk involved is lending money to failing ideas.
Right.
Where has government comforted or secured that level of confidence that bankers will have an interest in diversification or tourism? And diversification in anything, agriculture and all the other things we speak about, right? Going green, etc., etc. Convince me that you can convince any bank, and I'll throw anyone in the middle, that we are ready for it. None. They are still on the MO of fridge, stove, motor car, set salary, at best a mortgage from people who are under, let us call, secure salaries through government thing. So their whole reliance, majority of it is on government feed, right? So the soldier money, sure the police money, sure the teacher money, sure they will get the mortgages. So we'll do homes in that capacity, we will lend there. And then the average man who going down the road who want a motor car, you know, they have a salary by me, they may get a loan, that kind of thing. But have they decided that they are going to invest in helping the diversification? No. That's an outright no. And two, is it that government is going to have legislation, because that is missing from the central bank perspective, financial legislation, to ensure that the banks do some complying, put aside some measure of funding to ensure that some special facility is done. And I'm not saying to give it to any willy-nilly, but people who have a track record that is probably willing to shift. If you notice, a lot of our businesses are carrying their money and investing external. You know.
Capital flight,
Yeah, guess why? Clearly, we don't have a vision for them to see where to go, so they take the money and put it there. So the money is going Guyana, it's going in the US, it's going in some in Curacao, Colombia, a couple of them into agriculture in those countries. They're doing agriculture, you know.
Yeah, but that's not here.
Not here.
Not here.
Not here, because there's no protection, there's no goal or dream or aspiration for it here. So they are investing in it because they are protected in another turf. It has legislation, it has protection to some degree, and it has concessions that will allow you to take the risk. Remember, you have disease could wipe you out, you have weather could wipe you out, you have things that could hit you a blow in a one, but there are things to protect them, so they've put their money there. Why we can't wake up yet? We're waiting for the oil boom still in 2028, you know that, right?
Well,
you know, we're going to drag this and hope for the oil thing to come again and then forget everything that we're talking about now. But it pains me. You see the people who have invested in tourism for years? It pains me to watch a lot of them today have to sell their properties and come out with bare minimum. When they believed in it, they loved it, they understood it, they were educated in it, and they're just walking away at retirement and beyond with bare minimum. I find that to be painful.
Yeah, well, we run out of time. We only have about 2 more minutes.
Only? Oh my God. Give me the rest of questions. 120 seconds.
But how do you find living in Tobago is from your perspective?
I'm the ultimate and. I am always on the plane, if anybody will know that. I feel that's why they want to increase the fare. They must say it's me. But I don't make anything a problem. I'm light. You know what I mean by light? Right, I light. I move with a handbag. There's some clothes in Trinidad. I move from place to place and do what I have to do. Tobago, living here. I would not trade the traffic in Trinidad. I would not trade Tobago for the world for it. I could get anywhere in 7 to 15 minutes.
Right.
I can't enjoy that in Trinidad.
Right.
I come to work, and when I'm driving along, there's a sea, there's a coastline that it doesn't matter where I drive. And as stressful as it is, there's therapy happening while I drive.
Right.
There's the freedom to just move. I don't feel intimidated. I don't feel intimidated in Trinidad, let me say. But the behaviors, I see people in Trinidad throwing a chicken and chips box out the road. I usually drive down behind them. Pops, how you could do that? Come on, son. You know, and you're saying it in a manner, but you hope they don't pull a gun and tell you, shut up. But I'm saying those are the things that when you go anywhere, you know, people recognize each other. Even if we quarrel, we hug up still because we know we have to live together. So those are the things. But from an economic standpoint, and the drive for success, the drive for achievement, the goal to develop people and human capital, we lack terribly. And I would really love to see the minds that be envelop ideas and people who want assist in that direction genuinely and carry the island forward.
All right, so we'd like that.
All right.
Thank you, Miss Diane.
You're most
Hello.
welcome. I need a glass of water now.
So that's it.
You're most insightful. I've been dying to
Yes.
interview you for years.
Yes.
Because I've always heard your statements in the public domain that are ones, I would categorize it as ones that we need to hear,
Yes.
that we don't normally hear from the average Jew. So I want to thank you for your openness and your candor and everything else that that makes up Diane Haddad.
Thank you. I really want to encourage the rest of Trinidad and Tobago who come and tell me after, Ms. Haddad, thanks, thanks. I want them to be able to feel confident enough to say the same thing.
Yes.
Because the more voices that say it, it will make the change. The power of the word will bring the change to the politicians and who we elect and who we encourage to go up, and therefore we'll see change. Other than that, we can all hide behind plants and posts. We need to stand up. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So that's it. We are off the record in Tobago at Reef Hotel Resort. So
You'll have your major news now at 12 o'clock.
yes.
So it was indeed a pleasure today coming from Reef Hotel, a new experience, a new time, a new bat channel. Yeah, we have it going on in Tobago. Have a good day, TNT, and mind your business. Most important, mind your business. Even the rest of minds have a genius expressing the obvious. Stop walk around your tongue with your blinkers on and they just mirror into a post. Have a good day, TNT.